bomb cyclone has just dropped on the U.S. heartland. What that is and what it does is our first topic this Thursday on CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus. Thank you for watching. In the capital of Colorado, the mile-high city of Denver, Tuesday's high temperature was nearly 60 degrees Fahrenheit. 24 hours later, it was freezing and snowing. This is the result of bombogenesis, what's also called a bomb cyclone. It happens when there's a rapid drop in atmospheric pressure that causes a storm to become very intense very quickly. How intense? Central and northern U.S. states that lie in the Rocky Mountains and east of them were bracing for winds that could reach 70 miles per hour. That's nearly the speed of a Category 1 hurricane. Blizzard and winter storm warnings were in effect for parts of Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming. Heavy snow was likely. The National Weather Service in Boulder, Colorado predicted whiteout conditions when there's no visibility and power outages too. It told the people in the region to cancel any travel plans Wednesday afternoon and evening. Some folks didn't have a choice. More than 1,000 flights were canceled yesterday, mostly at Denver International Airport. Denver public schools, like several other districts in Colorado, were closed. Forecasters expected the storm to move northeast from the Colorado Rocky Mountains, with the snow tapering off by Thursday afternoon. But they're also on the lookout for strong winds and possible flooding in southern states east of the Rockies, where thunderstorms were likely. Next today, Boeing passenger planes models 737 MAX 8 and 9 have been grounded in the U.S. and Canada. The two nations announced their decision yesterday afternoon. At that point, they'd been the only two countries with a substantial number of these planes still flying. U.S. President Donald Trump said new information about the Ethiopian Airlines crash led to the Federal Aviation Administration's order to temporarily ground 737 MAX 8s and 9s. We covered the plane and the accident in yesterday's show. You can find that at CNN10.com. The Boeing company says it still has full confidence in its airplane's safety, but that out of an abundance of caution, it supports the decision by the U.S. government. 10-second trivia. Which of these fast food restaurant chains was founded first? Burger King, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, or Wendy's? The first Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich was served at the Dwarf Grill in 1946. July 20th, 2019 will mark exactly 50 years since astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin took mankind's first steps on the moon. The main mission of Apollo 11 was to get humans safely to the moon and then get them safely home. But Armstrong, Aldrin, and Michael Collins, the command module pilot, also brought back samples. The Smithsonian Institution says they were the first ever retrieved from another planetary body. The subsequent missions of Apollo 15, 16, and 17 brought home more. Some have been sitting untouched in storage for decades. And this week, NASA announced they'd be studied for the first time. 9 teams will receive $8 million for their research. NASA hopes to gain new understanding about the moon from it and prepare for more deep space missions. Meantime, Americans have the opportunity to see the moon in a new light from newly restored footage.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It was a moment seen by millions, man's first steps on the moon. The Apollo 11 mission remains one of humanity's greatest achievements. And yet, there is much we never heard, never saw, and never knew until now.
Countdown for Apollo 11. Now 5 minutes, 52 seconds and counting.
50 years after the historic launch, a new documentary tells the mission's story with new accuracy, pieced together with archival film and recordings unearthed by the filmmakers.
We started the project, we kind of cast a big net to try to get all the available film footage. What really was the amazing part was several months in when this discovery of the collection of the 65 millimeter, so it was all large format. Needless to say, our jaws were on the ground when we saw the first images off the film scanner.
Among the discovery were thousands of hours of footage that only existed on old reels, much of it uncatalogued, lacking labels or transcriptions.
NASA 50 years ago had shot this, developed it, sent it out to the different centers, and then ultimately it ended up at the National Archives in College Park outside of D.C. And sitting in cold storage all these years.
Working with the team, the filmmakers sifted through, restored, and digitized troves of material.
Once we spent the time researching all of that and then actually made an entire timeline that was 9 days long of the mission, so there really is a 9-day version of this film, we quickly realized that we had something special and that we could do it all with archival materials and not rely on current talking heads or other kind of movie trickery to tell the story.
I think that the all-archival approach really adds to the immediacy of everything, and that was really what we set out to do, was just make you feel as if you were actually there.
Without narration, recreation, or commentary, the film uses only original footage to condense the 9-day mission into 90 minutes. It begins with launch preparations and ends with the astronauts' return to Earth, layering new perspectives of all those involved in the undertaking.
I'd like to know what you feel as far as the responsibilities of representing mankind on this trip.
That's relatively difficult to answer. It's a job that we collectively said that was possible and we could do, and of course the nation itself is backing us.
Cyril Vanier, CNN.
We're not coming back down to Earth just yet. Since it's Throwback Thursday, we're looking back on NASA's Apollo 14 mission to the moon. While astronauts Alan Shepard and Edgar Mitchell were there in 1971, they explored the moon's surface, set up experiments, and climbed to the edge of a crater. But there's something Alan Shepard did afterward that golfers loved, though the ball he hit with his 6-iron did not actually travel for more than a mile.
6-iron on the bottom of it in my left hand. I have a little white pellet that's a million and millions in American. Drop it down. Unfortunately, the suit is so stiff I can't do this with 2 hands, but I'm going to try a little sand trap shot here. They got more dirt than ball that time. More dirt than ball. Here we go again. That looked like a slice to me, Al. Here we go. Raise the die. One more. Miles and miles and miles.
Glad we were able to wedge that in. It's definitely not par for the course of a moon mission, but it surely irons out the question of whether you can hit the links by moonlight. It's a slice of levity where there's less gravity, and even if there's no birdie to be seen, it's not like you're going to get a mulligan. I'm Carl Zeus, teeing off with CNN 10.